gray van. IHOP has crispy chicken!
Run in to try IHOP's new Buttermilk Crispy Chicken Strips and Pancakes for just $6.99. For a limited time, price and participating restaurants may vary.
Hulu is all your TV in one place, plus more. Watch thousands of hit shows, movies, and award-winning Hulu originals for only $5.99 per month. It's TV without the cable contract and the freedom of on-demand streaming. Get current network shows from ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and binge-watch every season of your favorite cable shows. Premium Hulu viewing is brought to you by Proline Automotive and AB Sports, Guam's store for Nike. To advertise on Hulu, call Choice Digital at 989-0042.
Real cop, fake claim.
In Los Angeles last Wednesday night, a rookie deputy named Angel Reynosa reported that he was being fired on by a sniper while in a parking lot. Police soon blanketed the area while shutting down roads and evacuating nearby residents. But it turns out Reynosa made the whole thing up.
He also told investigators that he had caused the holes in his uniform shirt by cutting it with a knife. There was no sniper, no shots fired, and no gunshot injury sustained to his shoulder. Completely fabricated.
Captain Kent Wegener, in addition to being relieved of his duties, Reynosa's facing charges of filing a false report of an emergency. His motive is under investigation. Karen McHugh, Fox News.
Kicked out of the West Wing, several key White House aides, including the president's daughter. It's not what you think.
Ivanka Trump's senior counselor Kellyanne Conway, top economic advisor Larry Kudlow, and some members of the White House legal team have been relocated from their West Wing offices while workers rip out materials that could be hazardous. The work to remove asbestos is being done on the ceilings and attic spaces in the West Wing's second floor. That work, which should be completed by the end of August, will cost about $250,000.
That's Fox's John Decker, reclaiming Dayton's entertainment district after a deadly massacre. Stevie Wonder already did his sound check. Kanye West hosted a Sunday prayer service. They're joining host Dave Chappelle in Dayton for a block party and benefit concert called Gem City Shine. Here's Chappelle.
That's right. Listen, we've been through a tough time. We've been tornadoes. There's been Klan rallies, there's been shooting, but we still here.
Chappelle lives in the area. I'm Jay Metzler, and this is Fox News.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new ciabatta collection. How do you want it?
I'll take the slam poultry.
Sure. Italian ciabatta with mozzarella. When hunger reigns, you're my favorite umbrella. Tasty garlic steak and provolone. With you, my taste buds are never alone. Savory chicken pesto, you have my affection. For you complete the ciabatta collection. Thank you. That was the new ciabatta collection by Subway. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
Proline Automotive has everything to customize your whip. From custom wheels to Nankang tires or just hubcaps, they have it. Feel better that it's protected with a dash cover, car cover, seat covers, or floor mats. Visit Proline Automotive, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
Coast 360 introduces our new youth banking program. Give your kids and teens a head start with Kids 360 and Teen 360, a program designed to help your child develop smart financial habits and learn about money. Introduce them to banking and get them on a path towards a thriving financial future. Plus, new youth members get a special lunch tote just in time for back to school, while supplies last. Learn more at coast360fcu.com or visit your favorite member center. Coast 360 Federal Credit Union. Together, we thrive. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird, bird, bird.
Circle K has a 3-pound rotisserie chicken, now available for the introductory price of $9.99. It's the biggest, tastiest, and most affordable rotisserie chicken of its kind on island. Save even more by getting a family meal with 2 sides and a bottle of wine for only $25.99. The Circle K rotisserie chicken. Get yours today. Circle K. Take it easy.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The body of a man who went swimming at Talifofo Falls yesterday was recovered shortly after 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The 50-year-old man had been reported missing for about 3 hours when he was found submerged underwater in the river, according to Guam Fire Department spokesman Kevin Riley. Guam Fire Rescue began their search about noon at Talafofo Falls. Rescue swimmers went into the river below the falls searching for him. This was the fourth water-related death on island this month alone. The man's identity has not been released. The Guam Police Department has launched an internal affairs investigation into the conduct of two officers who were on duty the night an armed robbery was reported at the San Lorenzo laundromat in Gigo. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau confirms that the investigation is underway. However, he declined to provide additional comment. The robbery occurred August 13th. Eliza Cruz told police that a stranger threatened her with a machete and demanded money. Cruz said she was upset with the response she got from police from the moment she called 911 for help to her encounter with the officers at the Dededo Precinct Command. Cruz says GPD never came to the scene. They told me to go to the Dededo Precinct, she said. She says if police had come to the laundromat, they might have been able to locate the suspect. Cruz also says she was never offered any victims' assistance after she reported the robbery. Her complaints got the attention of the police department, who then launched the internal affairs investigation into the officers working that night. We'll have more news after this.
Are you ready for some football? The Ray Gibson Show has got your NFL fix every Friday on Sports with Blake. Be a part of the action by going to yahoo.com's Fantasy Sports Pro Football Pick'em. Join League 3384 with the password Ray Gibson. Choose your team name and get your game on. Winners get a chance to win some awesome prizes that get you through the NFL season. The NFL Picks on the Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by Current Guam.
Whether it's for business or pleasure, staying connected when you travel is always essential. And now when you travel to South Korea, enjoy free data roaming with Docomo Pacific. Navigate the city, look up the best restaurants, email back home, or post all your pictures, all on the go for free. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your postpaid account is ready for roaming. You plus Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. See print ad for details.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The Department of Administration will be mailing out 944 tax refund checks today, totaling $2.6 million. The checks cover error-free returns filed on or before February 18th. During testimony on the 2020 budget bill at the legislature Friday, the director of the Department of Administration, Edward Byrne, was asked by Senator Therese Terlahi how much in tax refunds have been paid in the current fiscal year. He responded about $88 million in 2018, and prior year returns have been paid out since the current fiscal year began October 1st of last year. That includes the $2.6 million being mailed out today. In 2013, the District Court of Guam ordered GovGuam to pay tax refunds by October 15th for taxpayers who filed their returns on or before April 15th. Burns said that the government of Guam is on track to meet that October 15th deadline. A blue wooden cabana on the shores of Talafofo Bay that was burnt down a few weeks ago has been rebuilt by a team of surfers led by Mike Genero, a wood carver, an owner of the Eiffel Wood Art Shop across from Jeff's Pirates Cove. Genero built the shack with the help of some friends a little over a year ago. He said that the fire destroyed it and appeared to have been started when someone tried to barbecue in the middle of the shack. The remains of the structure were unsound, so with the help of about a half dozen friends last week, they tore it down, what was left, and rebuilt it over the weekend. Genero told the Guam Daily Post that hopefully in the future everyone will enjoy it, respect it, and take care of it, adding that this time he's going to put up a sign that says no burning. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Chris is here now, and Mike with a look at our weather.
Half a day, Kevin. Half a day, Mike. And our weather summary for today. It looks look for isolated showers and thunderstorms today as a weak surface trough approaches from the east. And we'll have partly sunny with isolated showers and thunderstorms. South to southwest winds near 10 miles per hour. Highs around 88, lows near 77. Your sun rose this morning at 6:09 a.m. And tonight, if we have a sunset and not a bunch of rain, it will set at 6:36. And for the expanded weather view now, we go over to our good friend Mike.
Yeah,
Trying to get some things worked up here, and good morning. Let's see. Let's switch over here to the internet. Let's take a look at what we've got. There's satellite. Let's look at the radar first. Let's do that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, checking the radar here. Got a lot of stuff down to the southwest and south of us. That's all part of that weak trough. Looks like some of the stuff extending up towards the east of us here. That could push through in the coming hours, but we're in the diurnal cycle switch, so I'm not sure how well those are going to hold together. But the thing to note is that we got plenty of moisture in the air, and the Weather Service says things will fire up a little bit later on this afternoon. Not quite as much as yesterday. Going to satellite here, we can see 99W Invest, which is probably going to be a tropical depression by the end of the day today. It's getting its act together as it heads towards the Philippines. It's pulling most of the moisture off with us, but still got a little bit of blobbage lingering off to the east there that'll have to move through today and tomorrow. So we can look for some of that to fire up, to this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, but nothing like we've seen the last few days. It'd be far less.
Okay, Mike, so I'm going to get this right. Duke
Sky Talker.
Sky Talker,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. Somebody gave me that name.
Love the way you do weather. Weather this weekend was kind of schizophrenic.
It was,
Saturday
yeah.
especially.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was like super downpour rain and then sun. I was like, what does it want to do today?
Yeah, that was I left here from doing my show on Boss, and you could see the cloud coming. So I was like, okay, let me get my car to the store. And then I got to the store, got inside, got back outside, and these big drops started falling. I mean, these quarter-sized drops were hitting the car. And then, like you said, it just a gully washer for like 10 minutes, and then and the sun came back out.
Oh, well. So here we are Monday. Let's fire it up.
Let's do it.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65% for travel, back to school, a wedding. Do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
Great way to start the week is with happy hour over at Ruby Tuesday. I know it's like 6:16. He's already talking about happy hour. What's going on? Well, you go take the family over to my friends over at Ruby Tuesdays. They'll take care of everything that you need out there. Incredible starters, lunches, and dinners while you're on the go. Price to please. Brand new Ruby Tuesdays favorites like dips and wings, burgers and tacos, steaks and salmon with toppers, and plenty more. Great end of the summer dinner waiting for you at Ruby Tuesdays. Portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines, a global presence with a local home, and Cars Plus, where they have extended the summer of Jeep until the end of August. So you still got time to go do the test drive on your Wrangler, your Compass, your Cherokee, or your Grand Cherokee, and find out how, with your good financing, you can get 1.99% APR on one of those brand new rides from Cars Plus in Mighty.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Have a day and welcome to the Ray Gibson Show. I'm Chris Duenas, sitting in for the vacationing Ray. And I definitely could not do this without professional help. Good morning, Kevin Kerrigan, one of the most professional people I know in the news business.
Good morning, Chris. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
It should be noted that the rest of us couldn't do this job without some professional help as well.
Okay, mental health and substance abuse. I hope you have your ears open. We may need a counseling session here and there.
Maybe,
Just joking.
Maybe.
Right on, Michael, and thank you for everything that you do, getting me set up this morning and with this multiple dashboard here.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing for me because I don't get to work that end of things. I get to work the easier end in here. But glad to have you here, man. Let's make a good show of it. Got a week ahead, and you said something earlier that we have only heard once on this program, while Ray is on vacation.
Wow.
And, yeah, we don't hardly ever hear that. So
okay.
Well,
good. Ray deserves a vacation.
Yeah.
And definitely a running vacation. We know that that's his one of his favorite pastimes. So running and then having a great time tooling around in the Philippines. So Ray, we got this. We've got plenty of Facebook folks. I am going to probably mess this up a little bit, but I think maybe by Friday I'm going to be okay
there
at
you
this.
go.
So for some reason, I'm only seeing certain comments, but I know the top 10. So I'll get to that in just a little bit. But I just wanted to spend a little time with Kevin this morning on some of the news items. So, Kevin, I always like to start my show. I kind of call it in session. I'm a legislative policy wonk, I guess. for me, and of course, our good friend Bob Klitsky always says...
You were in
Senator
the 30th? Or?
I was in the 31st and the 32nd.
Yeah.
And as Bob Klitsky likes to say, Senator Bob Klitsky, that, the legislature is the most powerful branch of government. I mean, they can enact a law in a minute and repeal it the next minute. And so I tend to, but I also like to, start with the quote, no man's life, liberty, or property is safe while the legislature's in session.
Yeah.
It's my favorite way to start the show. And Mark Twain, of course, gave us that. But, the thing is I don't do that I don't say that in a disparaging way. I say that because of what I said earlier. They're the most powerful branch of government. So to me, Kevin and Mike, it really is the fourth estate that has to always be in session and always watch what's going on in session, because it really it behooves our voice to be out there so that we can be heard and kind of direct some of what we want to see and what we want to see our policymakers do. Having said that, now that we're in budget session, I think we were able to get maybe to page 3.
Yes.
So
page 3, and 5 more days to go.
And the repeal of the 1% tax increase failed.
It did.
Yeah. So, I tell you guys, I think the minority is definitely in a pickle here, and I don't know what they can do to try to, steer the budget in a direction now that there's no way to, remove that regressive tax that exists on the people. And, Kevin, I think the only way they can do this is I actually learned this from B.J. Cruz in the 32nd. Speaker B.J. Cruz is, you can go into the budget and you can create pools of money geared towards critical services. Last year when the crunch happened and the Tax and Jobs Act of President Trump passed, everybody had to chip in and do their share. So $30 million was the government share that they said that they could cut, and according to the audit, it happened. And so if we're keeping this 1% in, perhaps what the minority should do is go in and start passing amendments that allows to lockbox at least $30 million in critical areas, say nurses, say police officers, public safety, public education, and healthcare, and lockbox that $30 million and basically create those pools. That's what happened in the 32nd, was a public safety pool was when there's an impasse on the budget, and there was a difference between about $4 million from Adelup and the legislature. And basically that's what the budget chair did at the time. He took the $4 million and he put it straight to public safety, and he identified only these positions that could be filled. Perhaps that's something they can do, so if we're going to keep our 1%.
Sounds like a good idea.
At least we get the priority areas funded. All right. So anyways, we did put out our phone number there, 888-TALK, 888-8255.
That's right, 8255.
Right
TALK on the old school phones.
So on the Facebook, like I said, I'm going to mess this up a little bit. So I know that this is, the format of this show basically is, interactive, more on the Facebook than the call-in. But I particularly like communicating with the folks. For me, the few times that I've done this on another station, as well as sat in, doing this show or doing a talk show format, for me, I think, of course, my opinion matters. But to me, I really believe it's the callers and the folks, their opinion matters way more than mine. And so right now, Mike, I'm going to try to pull up the Facebook here.
Okay, and let's go ahead and play the customary bed of welcome.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
Okay.
You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
Okay, so I definitely can get the top 10. Lillian Cruz comes in at number 1. Anita Muffness comes in at number 2. Nate Horn comes in at number 3. Al Batista comes in at number 4. James Howard was number 5. Heather Perez, number 6. Ishmael Valles, number 7. Ron and Cindy De La Rosa, number 8. Sandra De La Guerrero, number 9. And John Ray Titano, I believe that's John Ray Titano, came in at number 10. Patty Santiago, you just missed it by 1. So Nate Horn actually does chime in here, and the comments that I actually can see. So we're at 5% forever. Ugh. That's what it looks like. Half a day from Al Batista. James Howard, let's talk about cannabis. Okay, James Howard, let's talk about cannabis. Heather Perez.
I got to have the customary bong sound. Yeah.
Customary bong sound. So, James Howard, let's talk about... hey, Sandra, you did finally make the top 10. Yes, 5th, 7th is Ishmael. Lelolo. Anyways, yeah, let's talk about cannabis a little bit. It looks like, Kevin and Mike, it looks like the military has, told their service members, stay away from CBD oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like perhaps, and this goes back to, I think, kind of the discussion and the kind of the back and forth that when Customs started seizing the product, CBD that was coming in, and they started holding back and not allowing it to go out. One of the questions, and there was a back and forth whether or not that emulated from public health.
Right.
Because the idea was that public health, what Customs was saying was the product itself and the quality control and contents could not be determined or ascertained whether or not they met standards. And so I guess one of the things is if the product, is not as heavily regulated as, say, alcohol or other substances, then there could be much higher concentrations of THC in certain oils, which means that where CBD normally is supposed to have very, very low, if any.
Yeah, 0.03 is actually the acceptable amount in terms of percentage, which is minuscule. It's nothing.
Right. And so in that case, then what it would come down to is if you had a product unregulated and it came through, then bottom line is there's a chance that if it had the high THC contents and the individual used the CBD product, and they're military, of course, they're service members, and of course we know that it's a zero tolerance policy on drugs. And so in that instance, we would have a situation whereby that service member, could try to come back and go, no, I was just using CBD oil. But because, and that it wouldn't matter, because if the THC content was so high, then, that individual, there's going to be no questions about that. No, Mike, military doesn't.
Yeah, they're not real keen on all that.
They don't play that.
Yeah, they don't. The only foreign substances they want in your body are the ones that they specifically approve.
Absolutely. So, hey, all right, we got a caller on the line. Hafidi, Tom, welcome aboard. Thanks for bailing me out here. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to bail myself out and push this button. Hafidi, Tom, how you doing? Okay, Tom, I'm a novice here. So, what, I hold it down?
I think you push the lower button.
The lower button, okay. No.
Yeah, that button said drop. We didn't want to push that one. Yeah, again, this is one of those things where I never get to sit in that chair and do that, so I just put them on hold. Right. Tom, give us a call back. I think Tom had a comment, though, on the CBD.
Okay, Tom, please call back. I'm sorry. I'm going to figure this out. I think what it was the blinking.
The top one just lets you know you got one, and then you push the second button to bring them in, and then you can push the drop when you're tired of hearing from them.
Okay. Tom, I'm sorry I hung up on you. Please call back, and we'll talk about that CBD issue, cannabis, and all right. Let me go back to the comments here. I'm gonna start getting nailed here, which would be fun. Don't sweat it. We've been there before, done that. Howard, James Howard, James Howard. I ordered my CBD online. Variety. Let's see. Quality, quick, affordable. All right. So James, I guess James Howard probably believes, and if he's using the product, I guess James Howard basically would say that at least for him, so far, quality control hasn't been a problem. Okay, let me see the button below the lit up button. Tom, did that work? Half a day.
Ray, your voice is changing. What happened?
Not only is his voice changing, he lost his hair.
Anyway, I think the military is doing a good thing by telling their folks not to get involved in this CBD thing, because the military is cautioning their people to don't do it yet. Let's see what happens to the civilians when they start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the same idea that when they started this vaping thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were saying at first that vaping is the e-cigarettes is safe and everything, and then now it's killing people.
Okay.
Even in the publication in the Guam Daily Post today, that even an adult died from vaping.
Right.
So let us not be used as guinea pigs for these manufacturers of this CBD thing,
Mm-hmm.
I would rather other jurisdictions try it first for a couple of years, and let's really see whether it's really safe.
Right.
But yet we already have it here in Guam being sold. Legally, of course. Illegally, it's locally legal, but we are being used as guinea pigs, in my opinion, by the manufacturers of these products.
It's interesting, Tom, when this argument first came out, and even including medical use, I was actually kind of cornered, and some folks, maybe James Howard will feel this way too, was, I was just an old school individual, anti-cannabis, anti-marijuana, everything else. And that's not the truth. What it was I saw the fact that we were going to rush into something, and it always turns out this way when we don't take our time and formulate good policy and work through these things and learn from other jurisdictions and understand that we have to have quality control and laboratory capabilities to make sure when we're dispensing a product that it's safe for the public and safe to use. That was my rub every single time, is that we keep doing this. We've done this for war claims now. I'm going to talk about that in a little while. That's another article that's out today. We ask and we try to get things set up, after we launch something and that we want to do, instead of just doing all the due diligence up front. So, Tom, I think you make a good point.
All right, buddy. I lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you something, but I kind of lost it already when I started talking about CBD and cannabis and the vaping. So maybe I'll call you later if I ever remembered it again.
Tom, I'll be here till 9, and I would appreciate you calling me back. And actually, I got another caller online. We're going to take that call, Becky North, for a PSA. So thanks a lot, Tom, and I'll look forward to you calling back, and we'll have a good time together today, okay?
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Tom.
Good morning.
Good morning, Becky. How are you?
I'm good. I'm putting on my United Methodist Church hat here and coming up with a PSA because our church is offering a training on emergency response team training.
Okay.
And this, we've already had one group that went through it earlier in the month, and they said it was really great, and so they want to offer it again and offer it, open it up to the public. But it's a training that folks will be able to go through, and it's an all-day training, and people will be able to go through it and be able to better respond after typhoons or any other disasters, and give a good Christian presence in the aftermath of the disaster, and be better prepared for going out to help in a time of need.
Wow, Becky, that sounds nice. And so can we get some dates and times?
Sure. The date is this coming Saturday, the 31st.
Okay.
And it will be an all-day training. I believe it starts 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., although they said they finished the last one. They finished about 4. So even though they block out that time, it's till 4. It does have a cost, a registration cost of $40, which includes lunch and the materials. And if people are interested, they can either email the church at guamumc@gmail.com, or they can give a call to the church at 734-3251.
All right, Becky, maybe give us an email at the point, and we can print it out, and I can, put a reminder out. So once again, an opportunity with Becky North and her team to get together to do work and coordination and learning more about post-disaster training.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for the time.
Becky, thanks for calling. I really appreciate it. Call us anytime.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, so Becky took us all the way up to the news, and now I'm turning over to Kevin.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines for the Guam Daily Post this morning. Senator James Moylan's effort to introduce an amendment to the 2020 budget bill by rolling back the business privilege tax to 4% was ruled out of order on Friday. Lawmakers only began wading into the 145-page spending plan on Friday morning. They have until this coming Saturday to hammer out a final version of Bill 186 and pass it. The page-by-page review stalled Friday on page 3 when Moylan proposed the tax cut from 5% back to 4%. Finance Committee Chair Senator Jo San Augustine called Moylan out, saying, "You're talking about reducing the BBT by 1%, which will impact every agency in Gov Guam," said San Augustine. A reduction of 1 percentage point would cut Gov Guam revenues by $60 million. San Augustine cited the rules for this budget session, which require any proposed increase or decrease in appropriation to be accompanied by a corresponding offset. Moylan did not cite specific cuts to any agency, saying the reductions would be across the board. However, San Augustine ruled his motion out of order. Debate on the budget continues today when session resumes at 10 o'clock this morning. The number of drug cases involving methamphetamine rose between 2017 and 2018, according to the Citizen-Centric Report for fiscal year 2018 released by the judiciary. A total of 302 cases were charged for possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. That made the drug possession charge the top-ranked offense among felony and misdemeanor offenses charged in Superior Court. It's been the top charge over the last 3 years, according to the figures provided by the Guam Judiciary. A recent post on Andersen Air Force Base's Facebook page warns military members about the use of increasingly popular CBD products, which are for sale at a variety of locations on island now. The posting on the Air Force Facebook page states, "Stay away from CBD," and goes on to say that CBD is derived from marijuana. Military members should avoid CBD oil. Use is unlawful and could result in a failed drug test. Depending upon the source of the CBD and the member's intent, airmen may be subject to punitive action, warns the Facebook posting. Staff Sergeant Zachary Bumpus with the 36th Wing Public Affairs Office told the Guam Daily Post that the CBD and recreational marijuana have been, even though they've been legalized on Guam, federal employees and members of the Department of Defense are held to federal laws in regards to the use of marijuana and its derivatives. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
News time on the point is 6:36.
iConnect time. Give them a ring later on, 888-8888, and ask them about how you might be able to get some great internet and mobile plans without forking over an arm and a leg. They really do have some great packages at iConnect.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro brings you island hospitality with a true taste of modern Chamorro cuisine. A bistro look that feels like home. Their menu features local and traditional flavors with a twist. From their famous Kelaguen Hapa to fresh ahi poke salad and their award-winning barbecue ribs. Mescla takes your favorite local dishes and serves them with extra flair that you'll only find at Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro. Stop by their newest location in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon. For reservations, call 969-2652. Mescla, a true taste of Guam.
Half a day and welcome to Right Now Traffic. If I'm wrong, call in and correct me, but traffic looks light everywhere. Let's see, the biggest traffic that I see is maybe 10 and 16 up by Department of Revenue and Taxation. Maybe Micronesian Mall intersection might be a little bit busy. I think kind of typical over there on Route 3 near Ukudu. And let's see, the only other place, maybe over by Father Duenas, maybe 4 and 16 as well. That's your right now traffic report on the point.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. GTA, we start with you.
Rediscover Talk Radio here. Your FM News Talk Superstation. This is The Point.
Off a day, and welcome back to The Point, the Ray Gibson Show with Chris Duenas. Okay, I think I'm getting the into the groove here on Facebook. I was thinking that I could look at all comments coming down, but I think it's as they come in. So Pam Duvall, thank you for telling me that I'm doing okay. She said I'm doing good. Marijuana gave cannabis a bad name, Pam Duvall says. Nate Horn, I like this one, Kevin. If only we could afford to buy more stuff, which we would help boost the local economy. Crazy thought. James Howard says CBD is the devil's lettuce. Business is good. Thanks, leadership, according to James Howard. So, I know you've got, let's see, what do we call this today, Michael? Something about a missile?
Yeah, Missile Monday with Chris Duenas.
Missile Monday with Chris Duenas. Okay, so my subtitle for today, because I wanted to riff on something. My subtitle today, if I were to have titled it, was Let's Do It Ourselves. And I know that Benson is not a sponsor. Maybe we can get them on board. Let's do it ourselves. I read today, and I just saw the headline. I want to go in and read it, but according to the headline, the surfers down in Talafufu, took it upon themselves after, I guess, the shack may have been burned down there in the bay, and they put together a team, and it looks like they went and just built the shack back themselves.
Yeah,
So
how about that?
we're not going to wait for the government. We're not going to wait for 5% tax to give us money for it. We're just going to go out and do it. But the reason why I put out that let's do it ourselves is a week from today, Kevin, on the holiday, there is being organized a march. And if you want to get on this, please call us 888
8255
8255 888 talk. And hopefully you'll have an opinion, whether it's whether you agree with me, whether you don't agree with me. I'd actually prefer it if you don't agree with me. But there's going to be a march from Adelut down to, I believe, the district courthouse. And supposedly what they're trying to do is get folks from all of the options that were supposed to be voted on for self-determination. Independence, free association, and statehood. And some people thought in the beginning this must be a straight-up independence march, but according to some of the organizers, no, it's not. Come one, come all. The idea is to protest the issue, possibly that we once again have lost this case in the Ninth Circuit Court to be able to exercise under the defined local inhabitant, native inhabitant, under the definition there that Chamorro-only vote, as it's named usually. And, I think that it's time to let's just do it ourselves. And, I was commenting to you earlier, Kevin and Mike, I don't know if you keep up on the tallies, but, every once in a while during the election season, the news organizations will come out with the totals for expenditures and collections for fundraising. And I believe at last count, when I watched in this 2018 election, I believe that there was over $4 million spent on that election between the gubernatorial, the senatorial, and I believe there was a couple other races, maybe CCU. And, yeah, exactly. And so my thought was, we fundraise on Guam all the time for so many different things. if we can raise, if we can fundraise and our folks go out there and spend to the tune of $4 million in excess for an election, why couldn't we fundraise and raise $450,000, set up a nonprofit organization, raise $450,000, because that's what the Guam Election Commission says it costs them to do the primary election anyways. This was the debate, Mike, when the debate was hot on, removing the primary. Why do we need a primary election? So that's where the dollar figure started to, be discussed. That this is too expensive. Why do we do this? Why don't we have the parties just do this? So the dollar figure came from why are we spending this amount of money? But I would like to see maybe a senator introduce a bill, or maybe the governor could do it by executive order, that would basically commission the Guam Election Commission to conduct this election, to have the registry established, set a deadline for the registry. One thing I agree with is some folks that argue against the issue or argue the issue that even most especially the independent and those that are railing against the colonizer, is you take the colonizer's money in order to be able to do your education program, and you asked for all of that infrastructure in order to be able to conduct this vote. So the fact of the matter is that the reason that we can get around the issue, that really what makes it inorganic and what makes it, the fact that you cannot exclude, individuals from voting based on the U.S. Constitution, based on voting rights, and particularly on Guam, why you couldn't do it during a regular election, is because you have a federal election attached to it. But if you conduct your own election, if you raise your own money, you have your own Guam Election Commission, and you commission this vote it would be a special election. It wouldn't be during the regularly held election. And you went out and did it yourself. You could ascertain the will of the people once and for all.
Let's have the vote.
Let's have the vote.
Be done with it.
Be done with it. And to me, you could, you would still be able to compile all of this information, bring it together and petition Congress saying, we did this ourselves. We didn't do this in violation of any law. We conducted this vote ourselves. We paid for it. There was no federal election conducted. It wasn't during a duly, held general election. It was done during a special election that we commissioned ourselves, and this was the result. And at this point, this is what the people have determined. So we would like to work with the federal government to move in this direction. So that was just my subtitle of Missile Monday. James Howard says, GoFundMe, Independence Movement. Donate today because we want to know for real. Right on, James Howard. That's exactly what it's about. Tony and Annette Umpinko Ada says, good morning, everyone. Nate Horn says, tell Josh that fundraising is an option. Not sure if he's aware of it. Okay. And let's see. Jen, Amir, Tovis, Eunice. Buenas. Okay. So, if you want to opine on that or anything else, please feel free to call. But, I really think it's time. I really think it's time that, for all of the back and forth and all of the, all of this consternation over this vote, it really is something that we should do ourselves at this point. So at this point, we have somebody on the line that I know that does it himself all the time, self-made man, good friend of mine, Bob Kelly. How's the day, Bob? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Good morning.
Good morning.
I wanted to say the problem is we just need to quit calling it an election and do a survey. And the survey can be done with both the indigenous people who are signed in as well as the non-indigenous. That way we have two viewpoints. It can have first, second, and third choices and have details so that we can better ascertain the will of the people, including the will of the indigenous Chamorros, and not call it an election. It could be run by University of Guam public office or whatever, and we could get into a lot of detail because the vote doesn't count anyway. It's only an advisory. So then do an in-depth survey so we can take the will of the people to Congress.
You know, Bob, that's exactly we're on the same train of thought, because the whole thing to begin with, even if for some reason we were able to prevail and say that, you know, it really is a straw poll. It's an opinion poll. No matter how you cut it, that's what it was going to be, even if it was on the ballot as a question and we were able to vote for it during a regular election. One thing I wanted to say is, you know, of course, you're a tech guru. You're very tech savvy. Would there be enough security, do you believe, even to make this even more convenient to allow for online voting for a purpose of this?
I think you could use online, but I would rather have people who are professionals sitting down with the people and getting an in-depth viewpoint of what people really want, and discussing them even for a lot of the people in Chamorro, and get a real detailed survey.
Right.
In depth, like our census is, only about political status, so we don't have any questions afterwards, and make sure that somebody's there who can explain confusion or something between statuses when the people are selecting.
Right. You know, I was talking to Kevin earlier, Bob, and I've had this conversation with Senator Bob Klitsky, and that is that I honestly believe that that when you break it down, and I know it will sound controversial out of the gate, but when you break it down, the quest for statehood and the quest for independence is basically the same quest. What you're looking for is you're looking to have a stronger relationship with, you know, the governing entity. If statehood, I don't believe can ever happen for Guam, although I would like to see it. You know, I don't believe Congress is ever going to give us 2 senators, voting senators in Congress, and a voting member of the House. I just don't believe we're ever going to get that because of the power. Remember when Madeline, just for a very short time, one session, she was actually, but the Democrats allowed her a vote on committee. You remember that time, Bob?
Well, no, she's still allowed to vote on committee. She was allowed to vote on the floor.
Okay, so
that was the difference. The delegate always has the vote in the committee. They can even be committee chairs. That's the little bit of power they're able to carry, you know, to be able to negotiate. It's what they can do with committees. That's the one minor thing.
Right.
However, one of the things to make us stronger, which I don't think the political will is there between both sides, is if CNMI and Guam were to join together, that could make them a stronger political entity, but that's kind of fallen flat several times.
So if it was on the floor, I know that the Democrats did allow that for one session, and I know,
one session, yeah,
and that was immediately repealed the following session. And my example of this is, imagine just a vote on the floor of one of 200 and how many members. And even that was too risky, to say that a territory could tip the balance with regard to how legislation, a final count and vote on legislation on the floor. So to think 2 senators and one, voting Congress member and 2 voting senators, I just don't think it's ever going to happen. But when you look at the quest, you know, it's the same thing with independence. The biggest argument, Bob, that I hear, and that's why I think you're right in terms of the deep dive on what do people want. The biggest argument that I hear when I talk to folks when I go around is if we were to be independent, would we have the same structure of government that we have now? Would we have a tripart government? Would we have, the rule of law that we have now? And so I think that even though the independence movement really calls for what statehood calls for is a stronger relationship, with the United States federal government, I think that the fear of it, of the thought of independence is what form of government will we have?
Well, I think the one thing we would look at as least a example, not that it would exactly duplicate it, is what has happened to Palau, FSM, and the Marshall Islands. I think Palau has been the most successful in this, but we could look at that and see how that would work, but how would it also affect military bases and other things on Guam?
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. as a member of the minority, both sessions, I was the minority member for the FSM, RMI in Palau under the Association of Pacific Island Legislatures. And I agree with you. If you look at any model, and as well, just for our listeners, education is that the Palau and the RMI, I believe, but definitely Palau, they actually negotiate their own compact. That's the level of governance that they have, but if you look at their overall structure, I mean, it really is kind of a mirror to a tripart government.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot, Bob. I really enjoy your call, and thanks for interjecting on this.
But let's not keep calling it an election. Call it a survey of the indigenous Chamorros as well as everybody else, divided up, and then we have a very clear idea of where they want to go. It doesn't have to be in one day like an election. This could go over a period of 60 days, getting everybody's input. Actually, I think there should be 3 sections: those that live on Guam who are non-Chamorro, the Chamorros on Guam, and any Chamorros who want to participate who are in that class of the lineage who are living off island who would want to. And if you had the 3 different classes to look at, I think it would give a much better direction. And it's a straw poll, but don't call it an election, call it a survey.
I agree with you, and that even when I was thinking about the election idea, I was thinking the same thing, that one day wouldn't be appropriate for it, maybe even a couple of days wouldn't be appropriate. But I think your approach is definitely something that that is probably the better way to go, because Bob, I think you're with me on this, and I think most people that really want to, as Kevin said, let's have the vote and get it over with. By the way, we should try to we should try to get that bite, Mike. But anyways, I think basically what it comes down to is, folks really want to just find out at some point, what is the majority will of the people. So I agree with your approach. I think, something definitely more protracted and more inclusive.
Okay, thank you. Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks, Bob. Have a great day. So going back to, let's see, I'm going to read this hot. Elwin Champaco, Chris, the problem here is not much of a thing called Chamorro is indigenous. We are more Latino or mestizo as a race. Even the word itself, Spanish homophone, that is associated with shared heads, shared heads, and beef shanks. Okay. When we go around saying we are indigenous, we really need to check again. Our surrounding Micronesia neighbors are more indigenous than we are, really. That's a very stimulating point of view, Elwin. Palau rocks, man, says James Howard. Nate Horn says they haven't blinked an eye for Puerto Rico, and they have 3 million people. That's actually true, Nate. That's absolutely true. Pam Duvall, how about the candidates provide a resume? Let us vote according to their skills. Interesting point, Pam. So moving along, you got the Mike. You got the money cash register going again. Cha-ching. Okay, back to the budget. Actually, back to a issue that the governor has reached out to U.S. senators, and the reason why the cha-ching button is because, once again, we're talking about how to locally fund war claims. And, here we go again. And one of the issues that I talked to Ray about earlier last week when I came in and did some chit-chat with him, one of the major issues here in terms of local funding, I watched the session where the question came up again during the budget. I believe it was Senator Therese Terlahi asking, the BBMR director, Lester Carlson, Lester, can we get on the record again? Because just a couple of days ago, we were talking about how much money would be available in lapses if we were going to go down the road of funding war claims. So it was in a budget context. What are you anticipating for lapses for 2019? And he still said it was a moving target. And then basically his statement was the governor said that there will be $7.5 million. So my position is there will be $7.5 million.
That's right.
Did you catch
but
that one,
no
Kevin?
More. Yeah.
But no more. So when asked, do you anticipate additional lapses beyond that? And Lester said, no more. Yeah. He said that would be a stretch. Yeah. So the thing is what the title is by Jerry Petrito. What the title is for this particular article is Governor asks U.S. Senators to support Guam war claims. Says local war claims bill is not in conflict with H.R. 1365, which is fine. And this is definitely something, that the governor needs to do to make sure that there is, try to resolve the conflict between the congressman right now who says you're treading down the wrong trail here. Don't do this. This could end up doing one of two things or both. One is it could be recognized that Guam is paying this and the U.S. Treasury would just maintain that account and not remit to Guam. The other is it could cause enough confusion to where it gums up the process. Maybe they won't entertain the bill because Guam is talking about. So my point is, that's why I love the name of this show, The Point. My point is these kind of conversations, and there was all this talk of conversations and emails that exist, and I'm not saying that they don't, but these are all the things that should precede a bill and an introduction of a bill in our Guam legislature in order to be able to not have all of this back and forth and consternation amongst the folks, because of the fact that we have vetted all this policy too. Lastly, before we go to the top of the hour, Kevin, I think the victims and stuff like this, and maybe victim is a tough word, but I think it's a disservice to Manamku, who kind of got excited about getting paid. If you're in your waning years, you're sitting there thinking, this check might come in, and later on you find out that this process wasn't vetted, quite thoroughly. Each day that goes by, you were thinking about getting, that you were going to have some recompense for your suffering.
Don't hold your breath.
Don't hold your breath. And I think that's how we'll take it to the top there, my friend Mike. And so, I think that, we definitely are better served when, we vet these things. Maybe next time what we could say is an idea has come up to fund this, but to do a full-blown release that the money's on the way, we've got this thing figured out, I think that was the Ready, Fire, Aim approach on that one was a misstep.
Yeah.
Being kind.
Could be.
You're listening to The Point with Chris Duenas. If you got something to say in the next couple of hours, I really want to hear it. If you got an opinion and you want to take the show to any direction you want to, I enjoy that. If you disagree with me, I enjoy that. So please call me up. 888-8788.
No, 8255.
8255. I'm messing this up.
888-TALK.
There you
go. There you go. That's easy to remember. TALK.
Whoever gets that call on the other end is going to be like, who the heck did this? This is The Point. You're sitting here with Chris Duenas.
Gone from the G7 summit. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. The White House said to be blindsided when this diplomat showed up. He was not asked to stay for dinner.
G7 leaders and the leaders of other nations invited to the summit by French President Emmanuel Macron have gathered for a lavish dinner. The body language between President Trump and Macron appearing to be fine this evening, despite the fact that Macron blindsided the U.S. delegation by inviting the Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif to Biarritz for talks on the sidelines of the G7. Zarif had met with Emmanuel Macron on Friday before the G7 summit in Paris, but Macron saw fit to invite him here. Asked about it earlier today, President Trump simply said no comment.
Fox's John Roberts at the G7. White House officials reportedly complained that Macron keeps trying to broker talks between the Trump administration and the Iranians. At a working breakfast with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, reporters asked President Trump about rethinking his trade war with China.
Might as well.
Do you have second thoughts about escalating the war?
I have second thoughts about everything.
White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow clarifying the president's comments on CBS's Face the Nation.
He didn't quite hear the question this morning, but his thought was if he had any second thoughts, and he said sometimes he does, he would have actually raised the tariff, not lower it.
Not finding the president credible about a lot of things.
We've never
had a situation like this. You can't believe a word he says.
Former Illinois Congressman Joe Walsh on ABC's This Week, the conservative radio host, the latest Republican to announce he is challenging President Trump in the primaries. Former Massachusetts Governor William Weld already in the race. Mark Sanford mulling a run. America listening to Fox News.
65 years ago, Bank Pacific opened its doors to our community. As we celebrate, we offer you a special 65th anniversary personal loan rate for as low as 4.65%. For travel, back to school, a wedding, do whatever you want with the money. We just want to give it to you for as low as 4.65% APR. It's our birthday present to you.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC, conditions apply.
World Theater Productions presents Mamma Mia at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse on September 6, 7, and 8. See local and international artists in the biggest on-stage party of the season.
Half a day. This is AJ Raphael.
And Dee Dee Magno Hall. Come and see us in Mamma Mia.
Also presented by Dusatami Guam Resort, Outrigger Guam Beach Resort, and the Plaza Shopping Center. Get your tickets now at WTPGuam.com, GNC, and 76 Circle K.
Walking the line in Louisville, Democratic presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders on the picket line today supporting striking communications workers who walked off the job at AT&T. They are protesting unfair labor practices. Elizabeth Warren's in Seattle today, Kamala Harris in North Carolina, Pete Buttigieg in New Hampshire, along with Andrew Yang and Amy Klobuchar, among others. Another issue the world community has with the Chinese, along with trade, their fondness for a certain kind of soup.
They're big, they're scary, they can be very dangerous. And they're an endangered species. So the World Wildlife Conference agrees to protect more than a dozen shark species at risk of extinction, who themselves have become prey to commercial fishing and the Chinese appetite for shark fin soup. 3 proposals covering the international trade of 18 types of mako sharks, wedgefishes, and guitar fishers each passed. Opponents variously included China, Iceland, Japan, Malaysia, and New Zealand. The U.S. voted against the mako shark measure, but supported the other 2. Sal Giangrasso, Fox News.
Well, it's not a blockbuster like Jaws, but this action film tops the box office this weekend.
There's been an assassination attempt on the president.
Mike Bannon, you're being charged with the attempted murder of the President of the United States.
The president's top guardian angel has fallen.
Angel has fallen, making $21.3 million. Good Boys slipping to second with $11.8 million. The Christian film Overcomer opening in third place, taking in $8 million. So Indianapolis Colts quarterback Andrew Luck has called it a career at the age of 29. This is the reaction last night. I'm Jane Metzler, and this is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Everybody's heard about the bird, the bird, bird, bird.
Circle K has a 3-pound rotisserie chicken, now available for the introductory price of $9.99. It's the biggest, tastiest, and most affordable rotisserie chicken of its kind on island. Save even more by getting a family meal with 2 sides and a bottle of wine for only $25.99. The Circle K rotisserie chicken. Get yours today. Circle K. Take it easy.
Hulu is all your TV in one place, plus more. Watch thousands of hit shows, movies, and award-winning Hulu originals for only $5.99 per month. It's TV without the cable contract and the freedom of on-demand streaming. Get current network shows from ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, and binge watch every season of your favorite cable shows. Premium Hulu viewing is brought to you by Proline Automotive and AB Sports, Guam's store for Nike. To advertise on Hulu, call Choice Digital at 989-0042. 7 o'clock news from the Guam Daily Post is being brought to you by Proline Automotive, customizing Guam's finest rides, located in the Harmon Industrial Park.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The body of a man who went swimming at Talifofo Falls yesterday was recovered shortly after 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The 50-year-old man had been reported missing for about 3 hours when he was found submerged underwater, according to Guam Fire Department spokesman Kevin Riley. Guam Fire and Rescue began their search about noon at Talifofo Falls yesterday. Rescue swimmers went into the river below the falls searching for him. This was the fourth water-related death on island this month alone. The Department of Public Health and Social Services has concluded there was little to no possibility that any employee at the medical examiner's office was exposed to the tuberculosis bacteria last month. The investigation was launched following an autopsy performed on a man who died following an automobile crash. The man had tuberculosis and was being treated for the disease at Public Health before the accident that killed him. The man died en route to Guam Memorial Hospital and was taken directly to the medical examiner's office at the back of the hospital. He never entered the emergency room at GMH. GMH Administrator Lillian Perez Posadas confirms the man was never admitted to GMH and there was never a threat to patients there. DeNorsi said the Public Health is confident that there was no exposure to anyone at the medical examiner's office or to the medics who brought the body in. However, employees at the medical examiner's office are being offered free TB tests to be sure. We'll have more news after this.
Proline Automotive has everything to customize your whip. From custom wheels to Nankang tires or just hubcaps, they have it. Feel better that it's protected with a dash cover, car cover, seat covers, or floor mats. Visit Proline Automotive, located in Harmon Industrial Park.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
News time here at The Point is 9 minutes past 7 a.m. Senator James Moylan's effort to introduce an amendment to the 2020 budget bill by rolling back the business privilege tax to 4% was ruled out of order on Friday. Lawmakers only began wading into the 145-page spending plan on Friday morning. They have until this coming Saturday to hammer out a final version of Bill 186 and pass it. The page-by-page review stalled Friday on page 3 when Moylan proposed the tax cut from 5% back to 4%. Finance Committee Chair Senator Joe San Augustine called Moylan out, saying, "You're talking about reducing the BBT by 1%, which will impact every agency in GovGuam," said San Augustine. A reduction of 1 percentage point would cut GovGuam revenues by $60 million. San Augustine cited the rules for this budget session, which require any proposed increase or decrease in appropriation to be accompanied by a corresponding offset. Senator Moylan did not cite specific cuts to any agency, saying the cuts would be across the board. His motion, however, was ruled out of order. Debate on the budget continues this morning when session resumes at 10 o'clock. A recent post on Andersen Air Force Base's Facebook page warns military members on island about the use of the increasingly popular CBD products, which are for sale at a variety of locations around the island. The posting on the Air Force Facebook page states, "Stay away from CBD." It warns CBD is derived from marijuana, and military members should avoid CBD oil because using it is unlawful and could result in a failed drug test. Airmen may be subject to punitive action, warns the Post. Air Force spokesman Staff Sergeant Zachary Bumpus telling Guam Daily Post that the Air Force's legal division has also sent an internal warning to airmen as well. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Chris Duenas and Michael Knight here now with a look at our weather.
All right, so the summary for weather this morning is look for isolated showers and thunderstorms today as a weak surface trough approaches from the east. Forecast is partly sunny with isolated showers and thunderstorms. South to southeast winds near 10 miles per hour. Highs around 88, lows near 77. Sunrise was 6:09. Sunset tonight will be 6:36. And I know with this average temperature, everybody's pretty happy about their power bill, maybe.
Yeah.
Might stabilize a little bit. But for a more expanded view, we go to Duke Sky Talker.
There we go. Looking at the radar right now. Got a lot of blobage down to the south of us and some coming into the east now. It's starting to peter out, though, like I thought it might. So we just maybe looking forward to just some light showers as we get on through for the next couple of hours of the drive to work. There is sufficient moisture, though, for things to fire up a little bit more as we go on through the afternoon, and we'll show you that here on satellite real quick. Guam is in there. Let's get the pointer up. There we go. There's Guam. They barely see the pointer because it's in the midst of all the reds and stuff off to the west. That is 99W Invest, which may be a tropical depression by the end of the day today. That system looks like it's headed towards the Philippines or somewhere in that general vicinity. But for us, on the east side of the arrow, we see all of the moisture off to the east with the trop that's still got to come on through during the day today and then tonight, maybe even lingering into tomorrow a bit. The official forecast from the National Weather Service saying isolated showers and thunderstorms, but there's a chance, really, as things heat up this afternoon, things could get scattered, and it just means a little bit more rain than what the isolated would mean. But other than that, just rain, sun, warm temperatures, typical Guam day.
All right.
Yeah, Chamber of Commerce weather, if you will.
Got it.
There.
Okay. So are we doing market report or are we doing ads?
Yeah, well, we'll do market report right after this break.
Got it.
Hey, do you know what time the bank closes? I need to deposit my check.
You know you can do that from your phone.
I can?
With Bank of Guam's mobile app, it's easy. Just endorse the back and snap a pic to deposit it into your account. You can do this from anywhere, anytime, which means no rushing to catch the bank and no lines.
With Bank of Guam's mobile app and online banking, we're always open. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Hey, Ray Gibson Show here, brought to you by my friends over at Wendy's. Get ready for the Bacon Fest. That needs to be a thing. It needs to be. There's got to be a village on Guam that ditches. You know, we got that little cultural thing. They do the Banana Fest, the Crab Fest, whatever. There needs to be a village on Guam that does the Bacon Fest. Anyway, until then, you can get your hands on the Baconator from the people that sell more bacon cheeseburgers than anybody on the planet, making all of your Applewood smoked dreams come true. They've got a bacon jalapeno cheeseburger or the bacon double stack in the $5 biggie bag. Get yours now at Wendy's Bacon Fest. The Ray Gibson Show also being brought to you by American President Lines, a global presence with a local address. Cars Plus, who's they've expanded now the whole summer of Jeep. Everybody back to school, everybody flying off to the States for college. But these guys say, no, the summer of Jeep is not over yet. Won't be over until the end of August. So you still got time to go and do the test drive, check out the financing, check out the parts and the accessory shop for your Grand Cherokee, Cherokee Compass, or the Jeep Wrangler at Cars Plus. And finally, Ray Gibson Show brought to you by someplace I was lurking last night watching to see how many people were taking advantage, and it was a lot, of that special 2-for-1 deal they've got over at Ruby Tuesdays. Starts with an endless garden bar, and you can go back and forth as many times as you want to. Then you get an entree for you and an entree for him or her, whoever it is that's picking up the tab, and then you get to determine who is going to, what you're going to be doing about dessert. They got a couple of different desserts there that you can share if you want to. You get it? When I say share, we play a share song. You feeling that? Anyway, we've got the New York cheesecake or the other one, which is a to die for chocolate mess. You're going to love eating this at Ruby Tuesdays on Tuesdays.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
You know, Mike, I'm glad. Welcome back to the Ray Gibson Show with Chris Duenas. I'm glad that we had the live reads, or we had the recorded reads with Ray Gibson, because I'm sure everybody's missing him right now. So
yeah, it gives us a chance to have a little bit of Ray when Ray's
a little bit of Ray. So I guess maybe on Monday it's going to be a repeat because of the fact that, or actually it will be pointing out the close on Friday in terms of what the market reports did, because they're not open yet.
Well, the thing about that is that you'll probably read whatever is there. Ray just makes it up.
Oh, Oh, okay.
It is true. Yeah, that is.
I'm going to read what's there. S&P 500 was down 75 points, about 2.5% off. NASDAQ down 239.62, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 623.34, closing at 25,628.90. The FTSE not off too bad by 33.2. Nikkei actually up by 82.90. The Hang Seng Index basically came in at up about 130 points. Shanghai up about 13 points. And let's see, oil, I believe, was around 52, somewhere around there.
That's West Texas.
West Texas,
That's
yeah.
52, yeah.
You know, I don't know where Tapas is. You know what Ray said? If you don't find it, just don't do it. Or maybe I could make it up.
Yeah, make it up. Throw a number
Give
out
us
there.
a good pick. Give us a good figure, though. I mean, I want to hear like $40 or something. Come on, man.
Let's go
If
with
you're
40.
going to do it. Do
April
it
Fools.
up big.
$40.
$40.
Hey, gas should be $250 next week.
I think today. Never
Today.
mind next week. Today.
Ray's going to kill us.
Well, actually, I think 76 Circle K will be having a phone call in any minute now.
Any minute now.
Bitcoin holding steady, $10,006.90 because Bitcoin trades 24/7, 365.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yeah.
So we going live here now?
I guess we can.
got ads,
Yeah,
or-
we can go with.
You should have said.
Sending extra point.
You should have said. You should have gone to the extremes on
I
Bitcoin.
should have, yeah.
You should have said Bitcoin opening and closing at 3,600 today, or something like that. Or
Tapas at $63.27.
Is that real?
Okay, so the real
63.
the real figures.
63
then.
and
So
27.
that's why when we
That's
went,
as of Friday.
Okay, so that's why it went down a dime, but it probably could have been $1 or something. I don't know.
Could have been, yeah.
So Jerry, I love what you do because I had.
I'm not sure what it is I do, but I'm glad you love it.
I love what you do because basically, I got to tell you, I was fortunate to work for at least 2 or 3 really, really strong companies when I was in the private sector before I was on my own that really valued training. And I wanted to bounce this off you. Of all the training, managerial training, trainings that I've attended, and of all the things that instructors ever had said to me, the one thing that stuck with me the most, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, was as a manager, concentrate on that which is in your sphere of influence and control. Because when you're looking outside and being distracted by things you can't control, you're not being effective as a manager.
That's true. I would add one thing to that, and I would say what's within your purview right now. Okay, because the people that you work with and that look to you for leadership, right, are there like right now, have needs right now today.
Sure.
Okay. So, I mean, it's okay to plan and to forecast and the rest of those things, but you got people in front of you that have needs right now, today, and if they're being supplied, they're being taken care of, they're being fed in all ways that I can use that word, then they're going to make some good things happen today. If something good happens today, it'll lead you on to tomorrow.
And so what do we need to know today? Here's the extra point with Jerry Roberts.
Brought to you
by Guan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
There you go. Do you ever find yourself saying things that you didn't really intend to say? Or maybe you did intend to say something, but it came out wrong? If it's ever happened to you, the next couple of days we'll be looking to find those answers to make it all better. On the Extra Point.
When's the last time you looked at your homeowner's insurance?
We buy a homeowner's policy and never give it another thought until something happens. Life brings changes, and our coverage needs can change. The smart thing to do is get the answers and level up our insurance to make sure we're totally protected.
That's the Insurance Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today by calling Guahan Insurance Services at 475-1162 or visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center in Tamuning.
I caught an article in Fast Company magazine that describes an issue for a lot of us. We open our mouth to say something we think needs to be said, but the results aren't what we hope for. Brain and mouth are not at all in sync, and the results are embarrassing or cause a problem. You know what I'm talking about. These aren't planned speeches. It's impromptu, off-the-cuff talk. We just see something or hear something and decide to respond or just react. It's happened to you and me, and just about everybody is victimized by their own tongue sooner or later. Let's run down the ways. The article written by Judith Humphrey went into what she termed the 7 deadly sins of impromptu speaking. Here we go. Number 1, speaking before thinking. This is speaking before you've thought things through. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill once said about such speakers, before they get up, they don't know what they are going to say. When they are speaking, they don't know what they are saying. And when they have sat down, they don't know what they have said. The key point here is to make a point and stay with it. Being spontaneous is wonderful if you can make sense. If you're around your boss, a client, or in an important meeting, scribble down a few notes to help you stay on track. Number 2, running off at the mouth. Another way to express this is that we talk too much. Maybe this is interrupting others or going on and on, monopolizing a meeting, or you tell a story that could take 3 minutes, but 20 minutes later, you still haven't gotten to the conclusion. This is a close cousin to speaking before we think. It's thinking we're ready to speak and have a definite point to make, then getting into it and figuring out we don't know what or where that point is. What's needed is structure so we don't end up babbling. The solution is to set limits on where we want to go with the conversation. Establish a structure with 2 or 3 points you want to make and leave it at that. Avoid the temptation to go further unless you're really clear on what comes next. Number 3, experiencing mind freeze. This is not the kind induced by eating ice cream. This is when your mind goes blank and you don't know what to say. This can be caused by nervousness, anxiety, or poor preparation. And the last word is the key to avoiding an issue like mind freeze. Preparation. Be ready. Know your stuff. If you know that you're short on details and aren't completely clear on a topic, tell people you need more time. Or if you have a team member who knows the information well, call them in and let them pick up for you. Tomorrow, we'll have more ways to say the wrong thing and how to overcome them, hopefully. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today for 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First Hawaiian Bank. And sitting in for Ray Quisteranis, I'm Jerry Roberts.
All right, Jerry. What do you do when Facebook doesn't come up?
Try LinkedIn.
Be prepared to move on with something else.
Move on, man. That's it.
Right on, Jerry Roberts. Thanks a lot. We appreciate that extra point.
Have a good one. Good seeing you.
Right on. Have a great day. All right, Michael. So I can't get into Facebook, so we're going to just move along here.
Wow. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Anyways, so moving along and talking about preparation, currently there's the preparation of the budget. Earlier, for those who are just joining us right now, what I was talking about is obviously in Kevin's headlines, there was the motion on the floor to reduce the BPT back to 4%. It was, ruled out of order. And as it was ruled out of order, obviously that's not going to happen. And so the point that I made that earlier was that one thing the minority can do to ensure that, we get our money's worth, that our priorities are funded, is they can create within the most important things that government is supposed to do, which is public safety, healthcare, and education. They can set up funding and lockbox funding in pools for capital improvement projects, specific capital improvement projects, or for specific positions like teachers and nurses and firemen and doctor contracts and other things that actually fund the priorities of our government. And that can be done. If you look at last year, the government, the audit showed that they were able to do their part other than raising the 1%, to be able to cover for the losses of revenue from the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And the government's job was to make sure that it cut at least and did not spend up to $30 million. And they did it. And so if they can do that, why not lockbox at least $30 million in this particular budget into the priority areas? At least we can get our 1% worth in the areas that we really need it. Maybe Tom has a comment on this, and so we're going to bring him back in. Have a day, Tom.
How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
All right. Did you read the letter to the editor that Carl Peterson wrote on the Guam Daily Post on Thursday, August 22nd?
I did not get to that one, Tom. What were the contents of?
Okay. When you get a chance, go ahead and read it, and then we can talk about it later on. Then, or other people can talk about it with you. But his main topic was there is absolutely no evidence that the Trump tax cut, that Guam really lost $68 million due to the Trump tax cut. So what happened is our legislature raised the BPT to 5% in anticipation of the revenue loss due to the Trump tax cut. But that $68 million loss that they anticipated never materialized.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what happened is the people that had their take-home pay increase because of the tax cut, they probably spend it in the economy, so it kind of offset whatever loss in revenue that Guam was supposed to have lost.
Mm-hmm.
So read that article. It's very interesting because Carl Peterson is a certified financial planner, and I think he knows what he's talking about.
Sure.
But what I really called to you about that I tried to talk to this morning, but I lost my train of thought, is that march that they're going to have on September 2nd is all about trying to counter the appellate court's decision about having Mr. Davis be able to vote in this so-called plebiscite of theirs, right? And because even the former president and of the university, I don't have to mention his name, you know who he is, he had an interview with the Guam Daily Post a while back, and he said, Mr. Davis is not going to have the last word on this. That is, I'm quoting him now, I'm quoting that former president of the UOG. He said, Mr. Davis is not going to have the last word on this. This argument is not over. This war is not over. That is the whole intention of that march down there on September 2nd. So don't let them lie to you that when they say come one, come all, because everybody that's going to show up down there is going to be perceived by the people and the media that all of those people are for the independence. Because even the former president of the UOG, he wants independence anyway. And Mr. Bavaka wants independence. Even our own governor wants independence. So they're really pushing for this independence vote. So and don't let them tell you that this is going to be a non-binding vote. If they ever have that so-called plebiscite, which is not a plebiscite, and they take that vote and they send it to Congress, Congress is going to interpret that is the will, or that is what the people of Guam want. Then it's going to become binding, because more than likely Congress is going to grant what the people of Guam really wants based on that vote, which is not the vote of the people of Guam. It will only be the vote of the indigenous Chamorro, indigenous people of Guam.
Tom, I have a question for you, because it seems like I'm sure I'm not the only one that was sitting around with a couple friends of mine and said, you know what, why can't we just do this ourselves? And as Bob Kelly said, I think he was right. I mean, I think a projected survey of sorts with an education campaign, would be the equivalent. I mean, and it wouldn't be violating any policies. Sometimes I wonder the motivation for constantly suing over this issue, and even the thought of going to the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm wondering, is that a tactic of sorts?
I agree with you, and I agree with Mr. Kelly's, Bob's idea of doing this ourselves.
Right.
But the thing that is going to happen is that if we have a separate separate survey, as what he said, he calls it a survey. If we have a separate survey, one survey being the indigenous, one survey being the non-indigenous, Congress is not going to accept that because it still looks racially motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the two surveys over to Congress, they're going to shoot it right back at us, and they say, no. This is not an idea that you guys should go for. They're going to say, you guys should have an election or a survey or a poll where everybody speaks, or we're all in the same sheet of music, where everybody is involved in this survey or election, however you want to call it, whether it's indigenous or non-indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
And Puerto Rico already had their plebiscite. And the reason why Congress accepted their plebiscite is because it is non-discriminatory. It was non-discriminatory, that survey, the plebiscite that they had. Everybody, whether it's non-indigenous Puerto Ricans or indigenous Puerto Ricans, everybody got together and voted. Everybody that is eligible to vote in their local elections, everybody that is registered to vote, everybody voted on the plebiscite, and that is acceptable to Congress because they knew that it is not discriminatory. Nobody was discriminated against, whether they're indigenous Puerto Ricans or not.
So, Tom,
why can't we do that here in Guam?
One final thought, Tom. Say even if we did it by survey, and I just use my own survey in terms of people that I talk to, even with the effort on independence and the educational campaign and a lot of the push over the last several years, probably more intense in the last 3 years, I still can't come up with more than, if I talk to 10 people, I still can't come up with 2 or 3 maybe, if I'm lucky, that would be for independence or free association. I mostly get statehood or status quo.
Yeah, but people got to remember, though, that free association is really independence.
Right.
Because, we got to be independent first before you sit down with Congress and have a compact with free association agreement, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's remove the free association out of the picture. I don't know why it's included as one of the options.
Sure.
It should be either independence or non-independence, whatever. If we cannot be a state because we don't have enough population, then let's talk about other ways of staying with the United States, either as a commonwealth or as a county of Hawaii, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the only two. That right now, the way it is right now, with the free association and statehood and independence, those are not really good options for the people in Guam. Because we cannot be a state; it's obvious. And free association is obvious. You got to be independent. So it's really now just independence because we cannot ask Congress to be a state because population-wise we don't have enough population. Right?
So even with your description of free association really being basically independence, then that means the out of 10. The 7 majority still of folks that I talk to is still predominantly statehood or definitely not independent. So the bottom line is that I wonder sometimes if we don't really want to vote on this until we can see what outcome we want.
Yeah, that had been my suggestion all the time. Is what if we were to have an election? We have every 2 years we have elections here in this island. Why don't we have a question on the ballot, for example, this coming election or the next election, if we don't have time for this coming election? Just put one question on the ballot. The question should be, should we change Guam's political status?
I like that, Tom.
Okay.
I like that.
It's a simple yes or no.
Right.
Okay? And if the majority, 50 plus 1 of the voters on Guam say, yeah, we want to change the political status of Guam, then we will have 2 more years until the next election to educate our people on the different options that we have available to us.
I like that, Tom. I really do. I think that really is that is at least a decent survey on the mood of the people in terms of how they feel on this issue. Tom, thanks a lot. Call me in the next hour if something else comes up and you want to discuss. And I got to go over to Kevin right now for the bottom headlines. And I really appreciate your interaction today. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good one, Tom. And now we're going to go to Kevin for the news, yeah?
7:30 headlines right now being brought to you by GPSI Guam, professional services company, registered contractor for the federal government. You want to know how they might be able to team with you to get some Fed business or maybe to help you with your business. Call GPSI at 477-3058, 477-3058. Ask for Al, and 7:30 News is being brought to you by Lolita Camada, Remax Diamond Realty for all your real estate needs. Her number is 688-6743. Auntie Loli's number again, 688-6743.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines of the Guam Daily Post this morning, the Guam Police Department has launched an internal affairs investigation into the conduct of 2 officers who were on duty the night an armed robbery was reported at the San Lorenzo laundromat in Chico. GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tabao confirming that an investigation is underway. However, he declined to provide additional comment. The robbery occurred August 13th. Eliza Cruz told police a stranger threatened her with a machete and demanded money. Cruz says she was upset with the response she got from police from the moment she called 911 for help to her encounter with the officers of the Dededo Precinct Command. Cruz says GPD never came to the scene. Instead, she was told to go to the Dededo precinct to report the incident. She says if police had come to the laundromat, they might have been able to locate the suspect. Cruz also says she was never offered any victim's assistance after she reported the attempted robbery. Her complaints got the attention of the police department, who then launched the internal affairs investigation. The number of drug cases involving methamphetamine rose between 2017 and 2018. According to the Citizen-Centric report for fiscal year 2018, a total of 302 cases were charged for possession of Schedule II controlled substance. This made the drug possession charge the top-ranked offense among felony and misdemeanor offenses charged